Hello, dear AMNA community. What is the word meaning of Doshakopa? What is the textual description of Doshakopa? What is the understanding of Doshakopa? What is its significance in terms of the present day understanding? How this particular Doshakopa can be analyzed from Ayurveda parameters? These are the descriptions available in this particular video. Dear community, put the thumbs up and spread this particular video to maximum number of true Nidana learners so that we can make a huge movement out of this particular small message. Don't forget to press the bell icon so the YouTube algorithms will be helping you get the right information at the right time for the right purpose. When you think about the term Doshakopa, it is comprising of two words, Dosha and Kopa. Dosha in the sense that may be either the Sharirika Dosha or Manasika Dosha. Sharirika Dosha are Vata, Pitta and Kapha, and Manasika Dosha are Rajas and Tamas. And Kopa refers to the vitiation or a abnormal increase as such. Today we are going to discuss what is the textual description of Doshakopa. It is being mentioned in Sushruta Nidana, first and second chapter. Karmadi mithyadi yoge api asati satmi bhave doshakopaha. So this is the description of Doshakopa, whereas karmadi samyag yogena punarekena dosha samyam tadekameva swasthya karanam iti. If the person is doing the balanced intake of the artha and karma and kala, that is considered to be responsible for the dosha samyata. If the person is not using the artha, that is termed as asatmya indriya artha sanyoga. If the person is not doing the the karma, that may be considered in the context of prajna paradha. And if the person is not utilizing the kala, etc., that will be considered under the heading of the parinama. They are responsible for the doshakopa. So that is abnormal increase of the either one dosha or two dosha or all the three dosha as such. So the doshakopa that is being mentioned, the reasons for these are considered to be ati yoga, ayoga and mithya yoga of asatmindriyartha sanyoga, prajna paradha and parinama. Hindu commentary says मिथ्याहार विहारेण यो दोषकोपः तत्कृता पीडा निजो रोगः अभिघातादिना दोषकोप आगन्तु रोगः. So that is, if the person is having the either mithya ahara or mithya vihara, maybe in terms of increased madhura rasa ahara or increased katurasa ahara, etc., or doing the 1 kilometer running after consumption of food, etc., that is mithya vihara, etc. So that will be considered to be the responsible for the manifestation of a nija vikara. Whereas abhighata dina, for example, trauma, either due to the sharp instruments or blunt instruments, etc. So there will be the vitiation of or abnormal increase of the dosha that will be responsible for the agantuja vikara. In the sense, if the dosha prakopa or if the doshakopa is happening because of the mithya ahara and vihara that are responsible for the nija vikara, and if the diseases are being manifested because of the, or if the dosha is going to get vitiated because of the abhighata, etc., so that are responsible for the agantuja vikara. So when you think about the asatmindriyartha sanyoga and doshakopa, when you think about here, there are three examples. The person A is going to consume curds. Person B is going to consume curds with 2 spoons of sugar in each of these curds as such, whereas person C is going to consume the dadhi with 4 teaspoon sugar in each of these dadhi as such. When you think about it, all these are responsible for the kapha dosha vitiation, wherein the person A will be having mild vitiation of kapha dosha, person B will be having the moderate vitiation of kapha dosha, and person C will be having the very severe form of vitiation of kapha dosha may be taking place. This is the example of a rasanendriyartha sanyoga, that is rasanendriyartha asatmendriyartha sanyoga, that is ati yoga of a rasanendriya. When you think about the pragya paradha and doshakopa, it is being mentioned from the Indian government, that is the statutory warning. Whenever a person is going to do the cigarette smoking, that is considered to be injurious to health. So there are 3 people. The person A is going to do the cigarette smoking of 3 cigarettes per day. Person B is going to do or smoke 10 cigarettes per day. And person C, 30 cigarettes per day will be smoked by him. When you think about the Doshakopa as such, in all the 3 occasions, there may be the possibility of the dosha vitiation. Person A will be having milder form of dosha vitiation, maybe the Vata or Pitta as such. Person B will be having moderate degree of dosha vitiation, and person C, he may have the maximum amount of dosha vitiation may be taking place in person C. This is about the pragyaparada. They are knowing cigarette smoking is injurious to health. Still, they are going to do the smoking. That is the pragyaparada as such example. Parinama and Doshakopa. So here there is a thirsty woman in the extreme summer season. She is going to consume cold water as such. So let us say 3 women are there. Person A, who used to drink 500 ml of water there. Person B is going to consume 1000 ml of water, and person C is going to consume 1500 ml of water as such. When you think about these 3 examples, in all the 3 occasions, dosha vitiation of a pitta that may be varied. As the person is doing the extreme or exercise, etc., and in the extreme summer season, if the person is going to drink only 500 ml of water, there may be the possibility of the pravara pitta dosha vitiation. Whereas the person who is going to drink 1000 ml of water, there will be moderate degree of pitta vitiation, and person C, as the person C is going to consume maximum amount of water in extreme summer season, there may be mild form of pitta dosha vitiation. In that way, we can able to understand these 3 vida ayatanani in terms of a doshakopa as such. By looking into these aspects, we can come to conclusion that the 3D ayatanani are not mutually exclusive. So that means asatmirartha sanyoga itself may not happen, parinama may not happen, prajnaparadha may not happen. There may be the possibility of either asatmirartha sanyoga or either parinama or either the prajnaparadha or any 2 asatmirartha sanyoga or parinama or asatmirartha sanyoga or prajnaparadha or parinama etc. or asatmirartha sanyoga or parinama etc. or all the 3 that can be observed in an individual. For example, if the person is going to consume 10 laddus, that too in the Vasanta Rutu, after knowing that the person is a diabetic, in that particular situation, all the 3 ayatanas are happening together at a particular individual, which is responsible for the increase of the kapha dosha in the body. In that way, so we can able to understand the description of these as such. Now, how to analyze these doshakopa? The textbook says, Ashtanga Hridaya, Sutrasthana, 12th chapter says, Dushyam Desham Balam Kalam Analam Prakritim Mayah Sattvam Satmam Tathaharah Avasthascha Pitadvidah Suksma Sukshmaha Samikshesha Doshaushada Nirupane Yovartate Chikitsayam Nasas Karati Jatujit. If the persons are knowing, or if the physicians are knowing these different parameters before giving the medications, they are knowing about their degree of the dosha vitiation in the body in terms of the dosha, in terms of the dushya, desha, bala, kala, anala, prakriti, vaya, sattva, satmya, ahara, and avastha, then the person is going to have the, what do you say, that that is the success may not be, what do you say, that the may not be related to the destiny as such. That is being done by that particular wise clinician only. Now, we are going to do this regarding the Dushya. So that means regarding the degree of dhatu or mala vitiation. How much amount of the dhatu is being vitiated? Whether is it one dhatu is vitiated, or two dhatu is vitiated, or three or more dhatu are vitiated, or in terms of the mala, which mala is being afflicted, whether is it mutra is afflicted, or purisha is afflicted, or sweda is afflicted, or all the three mala are afflicted, or is it the dhatu mala is being involved as such. That is helpful in determining this. This will be giving you the analysis of the dosha vitiation. Regarding the desha as such, when you think about it, the degree of the desha as such, that is where the person is being born, whether he has born in the Jangala Desha or Anupadesha Sadharana Desha, or where the person is being grown, whether he has grown in Jangala Desha or Anupadesha Sadharana Desha, or where the person is getting the disease as such, or Vyadhita, whether the person getting the disease is in the Anupadesha or Sadharana or Jangala Desha, or when you think about the further, how much amount of the time duration the person is being residing in Jangala Desha or Anupadesha Sadharana Desha, etc. That is going to decide the Doshakopa in terms of these particular parameters as such. When you think about the Bala, that is the degree of the Bala or strength of the individual as such. If the person is having the more physical strength, naturally the dosha vitiation may be milder. If the person is having the very weak physical strength, the degree of dosha vitiation may be maximum. When you think about the kala, so that may be attributable to the time of the day, or time of the night, or the season, whether is it rainy season or summer season or winter season, etc., or time of food intake, whether the person is getting the symptoms, whether soon after the food substances, or during the digestion of the food substances, or after the complete digestion of the food as such, whether the person is getting the symptom manifestation. So that will be giving you the information related to Doshakopa. Regarding the Anala, so what kind of the Agni is being observed in an individual? Whether is it Tikshna Agni or Mandagni, Vishamagni? So that will be deciding the dosha dominance in an individual at a particular time. Prakriti, whether the person is having the Pravara Kapha Prakriti or Madhyama Kapha Prakriti or Avara Kapha Prakriti. So in that way, simply the Kapha Prakriti mentioning itself may not be sufficient to determine the Doshakopa. Vaya, whether the Balya Avastha, where the natural dosha dominance will be Kapha dosha, Madhyama Avastha, where the person will be having the 30 to 60 years of age, where the natural dominance of Pitta dosha may be seen, and after the age of 60 years, till death as such, we are going to observe the Vata dosha vitiation. In that way, so vaya of an individual may help in determining the dosha kopa as such. Sattva, the degree of the psychological state, whether the person is mentally strong or mentally weak or mentally unstable, all they are going to decide the dosha kopa as such. How we are going to learn in the coming slides as such. Regarding the satmya, whether the person is having the pravara satmya or madhyama or avara satmya, so that will be deciding the dosha kopa. Ahara, what is the quality of the food substances person is going to consume. Whether the person is going to consume Madhura Rasa substance, or whether the person is going to consume Katu, Amla or Lavana Rasa substance, or whether the person is going to consume all six rasa substances at a particular time, and method of food intake also. How the person is going to consume the food substances, whether he is going to consume the food substances by having an interaction with the friends, or whether the person is going to take the substances by sitting alone, or whether the person is going to consume the food substances by watching the television, etc., or whether the person is going to consume the quantity of food, whether the very little quantity or more amount of the quantity, or little quantity of the kapha dosha prakopaka substances, or more amount of the kapha dosha prakopaka substances consumption. All these are deciding the doshakopa as such. And lastly, the avastha, that is vyadhyavastha. What is this? Lastly, the vyadhyavastha of a disease. So that means the stage of the disease. So wherein we are going to identify which particular organ of the body is being exposed to the pathogen. Whether is it the mouth, or whether is it the nose, eyes, ears, or the urethra, anus, vagina, breast, etc. Based on that, the person will be having the clinical manifestation. If the person is having the exposure to the pathogen towards the mouth, through the mouth in the sense, there will be the possibility of the affliction of either the whole Mahasrotas affliction may be possible. Is it the Mukha, or is it the Amashaya or Pakvashaya, etc.? In other words, there may be a possibility of the affliction of the mouth, or esophagus, or stomach, or small intestine, large intestine. So based on that, if the number of the pathogens are being more, then the Vyadhyavastha will be very severe. The number of pathogens exposed are less, then the Vyadhyavastha may be milder. If the virulence of the pathogen is milder one, then the person may be having the mild form of the disease. If the virulence of the pathogen entering into the body, it is more and more virulent, then severe form of the disease may be manifested. This is how the Vyadhyavastha will be helpful in determining the Doshakopa. Now we are looking into the each and every aspect of the components of the pariksha in terms of the Doshakopa as per the Vagpata. First and foremost thing, Dushya and Doshakopa. When you think about that particular point, so here this is an example, a thirsty woman in extreme summer season, if she is drinking about the water. So normally 1.8 to 2 liters of the water will be taken on an average. If the person is thirsty, so this amount of the water intake may be much more. In that particular situation, let us have three different scenarios. In first scenario, the lady is going to consume only 500 ml of water. In second scenario, the lady is going to consume 1 liter of water. In the third scenario, the lady is going to consume 1.5 liters of water. In that particular situation, that will not be leading to the pacification of thirst itself. So, in that particular situation, in all these three situations, there will be Vata Dosha Kopa. Whereas in case of the first scenario, only 500 ml of the water intake, the Dosha Kopa, specifically Vata Dosha Kopa, may be maximum. In the second instance, where the 1 liter of intake as such, so that will be leading to the medium form of Vata Dosha Kopa. Whereas person C, who is going to, in scenario C, the lady is going to consume 1.5 liters of the water in the sense that will be leading to mild form of the Vata Dosha Kopa. So here, in that may vary in all these three different scenarios. So this is how when you think about this, what kind of Dushya affliction we may see? The first instance, Rasakshaya may be to the maximum extent. Second scenario, the Rasakshaya may be in the moderate extent. The third scenario, the Rasakshaya may be milder form. In all these scenarios, there will be Dhatukshaya may be definitely being observed. This is one particular example in terms of the Dushya and Doshakopa as such. When you think about the Desha and Doshakopa, this is a scenario where the three members are being seen who are actually needing the water consumption. In the first aspect, we'll look into the surroundings. This is specifically a Jangala Desha as such. In that particular situation, the amount of the water available in that particular locality will be much lesser. So that means, the water consumption will be even much lesser in that particular situation. So that means there may be a possibility of a Vata Dosha Prakopa as such, or otherwise we may suspect because of the situation we are going to suspect the Vata Dosha Prakopa itself. When you think about the age specificity, so Vata Dosha Kopa may be milder form in case of the elderly lady in terms of the fluid intake, whereas Vata Dosha Kopa may be more in terms of the body fluid content in case of the children as such. But it is not so in other cases of the parts of the body. For example, the lady may have the joint pain, etc. So that may be Vata Dosha Kopa there of a different scenario. But that may not be the case in case of the children as such. This is the significance of Desha and Doshakopa. So here that was the water intake was taken as an example. In this particular situation, Bala and Doshakopa. So here there are 5 different ladies are there. All these 5 ladies are being given to have the 100-meter running race. In all these situations, the first lady is underweight. She may run without much discomfort as such. Whereas the lady who is having the extreme obesity, then that may lead to very severe form of the Vata Dosha Kopa in the form of she may say there may be a possibility of the breathlessness or sweating, etc. that will be observed. Whereas the lady who is either underweight or normal weight, she may not have that particular type of the breathlessness may not be observed if they are doing the practice continuously. It will be very easy for that particular scenario. That means normal, physically strong person, Doshakopa may not be that much the scenario in this particular situation, whereas the people who are considered to be extreme obese, they are comparatively physically weaker as such, where there may be a possibility of a Doshakopa may be the maximum extent. Kala and Doshakopa. When you think about it, so here the person who is getting the headache for 5 minutes as such, that may be considered to be milder form of the Vata Dosha Kopa. Person B, headache for 2 hours, moderate amount of the Dosha Kopa. Person C, having the headache for more than 10 hours, very severe form of the Dosha Kopa as such. Plus, the timing of the headache also. Suppose if the lady is getting the headache at around 12 noon, that is indicative of Pitta Dosha Kopa as such. Or otherwise, if the lady is getting the pain, headache at around 5 p.m., which may indicate Vata Dosha Kopa as such. In that way, the Kala and Dosha Kopa can be understood. Anala and Dosha Kopa as such. When you think about it, whenever you are analyzing the Anala or Agni, we should know Udgara Shuddhi Utsahu Vegot Sarva Yatgojita Lakhuta Akshut Pipasa Cha Jirnaharasya Lakshanam. So that means, Udgara Shuddhi, the person should have the proper belching as such, proper enthusiasm to do any kind of the activities, proper movement of these natural urges, defecation or micturition, etc., etc. Laghuta, proper lightness of the body. Chut pipasacha, properly getting the hunger and thirst at the appropriate amount of time. So that is considered to be the properly functioning Agni. So here, let us say the three examples. Person A who is consuming 100 grams of the food as such. Person B consumes 500 grams of the food. Person C consumes 900 grams of the food. So let us say all these three people are consuming the dadhi. Then what may be the impact on the anala there? The person who is going to consume only 100 ml of the dadhi as such, he may have mild form of the anala as such. Person who is consuming 500 ml of the dadhi, he may have somewhat moderate form of the dosha, Agni there. And person who is going to consume 900 ml of the dadhi, curds, he or she may have maximum amount of the Agni Madhya may be observed. That means Kapha Dosha Kopa may be observed. Person A will be having milder form of the Kapha Dosha, person B moderate, and person C he may have the severe form of the Kapha Dosha Kopa. Prakriti and Dosha Kopa. So here this is an example of the skin, the Vata Prakriti person. So in that particular situation, so look into that particular part. So the person is going to have the drinking of the water as such. So in that particular situation, drinking the water to 500 ml, there may be the form of the Vata Kopa may be milder form there. So severe form. Person B, he may have the moderate form of the Vata Dosha Kopa, and person C, he may have mild form of the Vata Dosha Kopa. But here, Vata Dosha Kopa specifically may be observed in the alimentary canal. That has nothing to do with the Vata Dosha Kopa in terms of the skin as such. So here the image is showing the Vata Prakriti individual in terms of the Twak as such. Vayas and Doshakopa. So all these Doshakopa may happen because of the difference in the eating pattern in different ages, such as the children, they are going to take more amount of the food as such, whereas the elderly people, they may take little amount of the food. Sleep pattern that may be different in different individuals. The children, they may sleep more than 10 hours or so, whereas the elderly people, they may not sleep up to 4 hours or 5 hours itself. So in that way, there may be a possibility of different Doshakopa there. Working pattern may be different in different individuals, different age groups. Thinking pattern that may be different. So children, they may have the very wide thinking, whereas elderly people, they may have the limited thinking as such, and emotional strength that may be different in different age groups also. Because of that, we are going to observe the Doshakopa depending upon the different the rituals that may be observed in a certain community as such. Whereas Sattva and Doshakopa. So, for example, here, so Sattva in the sense that is indicative of psychological function. So, this particular image is showing the Avara Sattva as such. So, that means she is sitting alone. She may not be able to cope up with the surroundings. So, that is indicative of the Avara Sattva. So, how this can be applied in terms of the Dosha Kopa? Let us say the people or the person is suffering from Prameha. In case of the Avara Sattva, he cannot be able to control the diet as such. So that means if he sees the laddu, he will be consuming the laddu as such. So that is indicative of the Avara Sattva in case of the Prameha, which may lead to Kapha Dosha Kopa maximum extent. Whereas in case of the Pravara Sattva, he can be able to control the sweet intake. Even by seeing the laddus itself, he may not be inclined to take that particular laddu because of the pravarasati. So this is how the Sattva and Doshakopa can be interlinked. Satmya and Doshakopa. So here there are the two images I will mention. First image that is specifically seen as a main diet in South India. Second image is considered to be the main diet in case in northern part of India. Suppose if the person who is residing in North India, if he is going to the south and he starts eating the idli etc., that is not satmya there. So that may lead to the increase of the kapha dosha kopa there. Whereas the person who is residing in South India, if he start eating the paratha etc., so that is indicative of that is not satmya to that particular person from South India. There may be a possibility of a Vata dosha prakopa or Pitta dosha prakopa. So like that, the satmya and dosha kopa is being analyzed. Then ahara and dosha kopa. Look into this particular image. The content itself, see the content. More the content, the person will be having the tridosha kopa there. Quality of the food there. So the paratha are there, rice is there, the pappadam is there, different types of the curries are there, curds are there, sweet is there, tridosha kopa there. Timing of the food. At what time he is going to consume? Is he consuming at 11 a.m. or 1 p.m. or 3 p.m. or 5 p.m., 7 or 9 p.m. etc. So that is actually leading to the dosha kopa there. And what are the symptoms that may be observed during the food intake? Whether the person is having the nauseating sensation, or whether the person is having the fullness of the abdomen, or whether the person is having the diarrhea, all those aspects. So that is indicative of it. What symptoms are there? Based on it, we can able to predict the Doshakopa. Status of the mind during the food intake. What kind of the mind the person is having? Whether he is having more amount of the stressful situation, etc. That will be decided. For example, among these, if the person is going to consume more amount of these sweets, etc. So that is indicative of the person may be having the kapha dosha kopa. Or if the person is more in consuming these substances, so that is indicative of increase of the pitta in the body, or vata dosha may be getting increased in the body. This is how the ahara and dosha kopa can be interpreted. Then comes the avastha and dosha kopa. So the term avastha refers to Vyadhi avastha or stage of the illness. So here we can give the little bit examples. For example, person A consumes 10 laddu at the beginning of the food. So that will be leading to the kapha dosha vitiation. That too, that will be observed in the amashaya. Whereas person B consuming the samosa at the beginning of the food as such, that may be responsible for the vata or pitta dosha vitiation observed in the amashaya. Whereas person C is going to consume one glass of the sweet lassi, big glass of the sweet lassi, so that may indicate the at the beginning of the food, that may indicate the kapha dosha vitiation. So that means in all these situations, the Vyadhyavastha or stage of the illness may be the amashaya that may be afflicted in this particular occasion, and treatment that should be planned to eliminate the abnormally vitiated dosha from this particular amashaya, the exterior. In that way, avastha of a disease may be helpful in determining the dosha kopa. In the first instance, there will be the maximum kapha dosha vitiation. In the third instance, mild form of the kapha dosha vitiation. In the second instance, there may be a possibility of pitta or vata dosha vitiation that may be observed in case of the amashaya. In that way, we can able to interrelate the avastha of the illness and dosha kopa. To sum up, कर्मादि मिथ्याति योगे अपि असति सात्मी भावे दोषकोपः. So that means if there is any abnormalcy in the intake of either asatmindriya yoga or prajnaparada or parinama. So that may lead to the abnormal vitiation of the dosha, depending upon the degree, depending upon the number of the pathogens entering into the body and virulence of the pathogen entering into the body and the source of the pathogens which are entering into the body, either one or multiple sources. So that is deciding the Doshakopa. Asatmindriya yoga, prajnaparada and parinama, they are not mutually exclusive. They can be observed in a single individual depending upon the simple Nidana Sevana itself. And what are the analysis factors? Dushyam desham balam kalam analam prakatim vayah sattvam sattam tatahara avasthascha pratak vida. These are the factors that has to be analyzed in terms of the Doshakopa. Dear ANA community, that's all for today. What are the major key takeaways from today's discussion? Mention in the comment box below. What is the one video that you can recommend this particular channel? Mention in the comment box below and spread this particular video to maximum number of true Nidana learners so that we can make a huge movement out of this particular small message. Dear community, don't forget to press the bell icon so that the YouTube algorithm will be fetching you the right video at the right time for the right purpose. That's all for today. Something more in the next video.